Hello everybody, Deanna here, and thanks so much for being here. Today's video is going to be a book review, and the book we're reviewing right here is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie Oh. I'm going to start with a brief summary of this beautiful book. Each year, a chosen maiden is sacrificed to the once beloved sea god in an attempt to calm the violent storms that ravage the land. However, this year, the sea god's chosen bride is Mina's brother's love, Cheong. In order to save her brother from heartache, Mina plunges into the waters and into the spirit realm, where she finds a sleeping god and her fate and very soul in danger. In order to save her town and all her loved ones, Mina must wake the sleeping god and unravel the myth that surrounds her fate. And she only has 30 days in the spirit realm before she becomes lost as a spirit forever. I'm going to start first with the cover and the artwork on this. Just absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I also love the other version that I have seen as well. If I have a picture, I'll go ahead and put that up on the screen. I also find that one simply exquisite. I actually really wanted that one because that was what I had first seen when I heard about this book, but honestly this one is also super stunning. I know I have it here in Canada, so I'm not sure exactly where it's from. Taking a peek. It says it's printed in the USA, so this obviously is the US cover, but it is very beautiful, very nice. I love it. I love just the art. They're both very pretty covers, very, very beautiful. The artist should be very proud of how absolutely wonderful these covers are, because they're simply beautiful. So I did want to just get that out of the way, and I think this book itself was just such a fun adventure to go on. It was very reminiscent of a beautiful Studio Ghibli movie. It very much reminded me of Howl's Moving Castle. I had just some very similar vibes to Howl's Moving Castle, essentially, especially since Howl's Moving Castle was made into a Studio Ghibli movie as well, so it just very much has that vibe. I've also very much heard it compared to Spirited Away, and I completely agree. Considering Spirited Away, she goes into the spirit realm as well and has to go on a whole journey of discovery and everything like that. It very much does have that type of vibe as well, and I think in order to really truly enjoy this book, sorry, so much like a movie. In order to truly enjoy this book, you do need to suspend your disbelief, because there are some scenes that just happen, not always a whole lot of explanation, just things going on, very fast paced, lots of stuff, boom, boom, boom. But again, to me, that is very reminiscent of a Studio Ghibli movie, where sometimes you just are along for the ride and you're just along for how beautiful the story is, how exquisite the art is, and just all of that. So the very much very anime type of imagery that it conjures when you are imagining the scenes that are going on and some of the things that are happening. It was a very, very fantastic adventure. I found the main character, Mina, was someone that I could really root for. She was brave. She was, someone who was strong, loyal, and just very loving, very connected to her family and trying to do what is best for her family. I'm sure there's a little bit of her own needs in there as well, but ultimately she is trying to do this to save her family, save her brother from heartache, from him losing his love, and because of how much she really looks up to him and loves him, she's trying to give some back as well. And honestly, reading this, I just allowed myself to get swept up in the absolute beauty of this story and the adventure that you go on. It's just something that was well done in so many ways, because to me, I just kept going and kept wanting to know more. I fell in love with so many of the characters and so much going on. There were scenes that you were like, oh, okay, that's gonna happen, or maybe like, oh, this is someone, you know, that's gonna be connected to this. But honestly, it was just about the whole adventure along the way, and I just enjoyed being swept up in the magic of it all. I also created a journal entry in this for my reading journal, so there is my entry there. This is my spread. I really loved the cover that I did here, the title with the hand lettering, and then I tied in a bit of some of the elements of the book, such as some of the lotus flowers, the paper boats, and just even the birds that are kind of mentioned. So I had fun. I had to really pick this one to this craft paper because it's such a vibrant, beautiful, bright yellow that just really speaks to the vibrancy of this book. And honestly, I just had so much fun. This was a book club read, but it was actually a book club read that I had suggested because it had been on my list that I wanted to read, and I'd seen some good things about it. So it was a book that I put forward as an option, and I just had a lot of fun reading it and going on that adventure. So it's along the lines of more middle grade / YA, I would say, for the reading style. It's, like I said, it's very reminiscent to Howl's Moving Castle, which I would classify more of like a middle grade reader, even though she's not really middle grade age, though sometimes you kind of might wonder how old she is in some of what's happening, but she is old enough to essentially fall in love potentially with the sea god. So, you know, she is old enough to sacrifice herself as a bride to the sea god. So that was fun to just see so much of what was happening. It's actually, honestly, was such a fun, quick read. I read it in about a day, just so quick to read. It's the writing style, you know, with the actual story itself. It was very engaging, kept me just wanting to keep going, and I just had so much fun with it. So I could really see this being one that maybe I want to pick up again and read through again to just really just see more of the story and connect more of the pieces again, maybe even go through and annotate it, because it was just such beautiful read. I just really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it and was so happy with so many of the different outcomes and things. So it was definitely a 5-star read for me. Absolutely cannot say more about how beautiful this story is. And if you love anime, you love Studio Ghibli movies, then you are going to want to check this one out. I would love to see them even adapt this into some type of Studio Ghibli type of movie. If they can get that, that would be amazing. It might be a little too close to Spirited Away for them to even do that, but honestly, it was incredible. I also, from my understanding, it is a retelling of a Japanese folklore, I believe. From my understanding, again, that's what I've heard it is. A story where it's actually, the actual folklore is more focused on Chiang, our character, I believe, the one that Mina kind of sacrifices herself for, who she takes her place. So from what I understand, and I apologize if I butchered this, but from what I had researched and learned, it was actually a story of Chiang and the sea god, and then Mina ends up actually taking that place, and it becomes a story of Mina. So this one is more like a version of, it's kind of cool because there's a bit of a meta moment where Mina references that folklore in a way by some of the stories that she tells, because Mina is very much a storyteller, and that's how she shares a lot with the world, is just being able to share stories. And I enjoyed it a lot. Of course, it's going to be very reminiscent to your Chosen One type story, like why is she the one that's potentially going to break the curse, but it's because of who Mina is and a lot of what she represents in her loyalty and her bravery and her sense of love for her family and things like that, to be able to potentially find a solution, maybe, to save her family. That's what it ultimately comes down to, is can she save her family, and will she be able to save herself in the process? So it's a wonderful adventure, very quick, fast-paced, a lot of characters that were going on. Some of them, you know, were interesting to keep track of. I found that the characters were fun, and there were some that I loved a lot more than others, but I was simply drawn into so many of them, and I could just literally picture it in my head like an anime, because it was just so beautiful and so much. Some of the like actual plots and things like that could be here and there in how much it was fleshed out, but I think again that was kind of the magic of this book. That was kind of the way that it was really reminiscent to certain animes, in that some animes things happen and you don't always get to have all of the roots. It's just that's visually represented to you in just such wonderful ways to like pull you in, and it's sometimes a bit of like a mystery of the story and taking you in. So not everything needs to be completely fleshed out, but I honestly thought the way that she brought everything together was really well done, and there was a lot of like full circle moments, I think, in how things came to be. So I honestly have just wonderful things to say about this book, and I'm just really glad that I read it. And again, I think I may read it again because it was just so much fun. So I don't know what else I could say about this book, because I'm just gushing about it and I just loved it so much. And honestly, like, I want to go back and really critique it and maybe get into it and see all those connections, and maybe see if I can find any points where it is something once you've read it and you can go back and go, oh yes, that part, and tie it into that part, and just see how much more I love the book, hopefully, is my hope. So 5 stars across the board. Don't really want to continue to go on about it because it was just amazing, and all I can say is go Mina, and I love her. So completely fantastic story. 5 stars. So I would love to know if you have read The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, or maybe even if you've seen any Studio Ghibli movies or any type of animes maybe that you loved. I've seen a few of them, so definitely I've seen Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service. Like, there's more that I've probably seen that I can't even think of right now, but it's just definitely a fun genre, and if you're into that, I really recommend checking out this book. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Take care of yourselves, and you will see me next time.